The fourth round of the championship, Ireland, the Mondello Park circuit in County Kildare, where the racehorses are bred. It was going to be a very different sort of horsepower though here at Mondello Park this weekend. The European Rallycross Championship had hit town. This championship and this circuit always go well together, and there was a new face in Division 2. Bjorn Skogstad was back with his Ford Escort RS Cosworth, and it was one of the smartest cars in the championship. He'd been in the thick of the action in the qualifying heats, throwing the car around in his usual exuberant fashion.
It's more or less a new car. It's the same gearbox and ancient block, but we have a new exhaust and inlet, and the rear diff, the suspension is not the same, but the body is also the same. So it's 5 centimeters lower and 5 centimeters wider, and it's 100 kilos lighter.
So the car is much better this year?
I don't know, because we have been out practicing now 3 times, and we had one day testing the engine before we go. We have been a little bit in hurry because of my mechanic died for 1.5 weeks ago, and that was a sad story. But the life must go on, and he wants me to go on, so we try. But today we have small problems with the brake, but I think we sorted out this afternoon.
And the Peugeot and Will Gollop were getting nearer the pace, although unlike the Citroën teams, this was a Peugeot with hardly any factory involvement.
I mean, if you compare our team with John Loop's team, I think we're just as up to the job as they are, but with some works backing that he's got, it's obviously a big help, especially in the engine department where you can spend a lot of your time working. I mean, he doesn't have to do any development on the engine at all, apparently, and he can spend the rest of the time on the rest of the car. So we're struggling with it.
Also struggling with the Russian Renault team. This car, driven by Vladimir Makarov, had a very big and spectacular accident in the last round of the championship in France. The Renault 21 Turbo was left absolutely shattered, and with only a week between the French and Irish rounds, it left the Russian crew rushing to prepare the car. Somehow they did it, and the Renault was rebuilt in time to be able to take part in the heats here in Ireland. But the team had certainly been burning the midnight oil all week long. The Mondello Park circuit saw disaster for Barry Squibb, with his Ford Escort hitting mechanical problems early on in the day. But nonetheless, the Irish fans were going to be treated to some very spectacular racing. Jean-Luc Pallier and Martin Schanker had also been battling long and hard. The fight came to a premature end, however, when Schanker's Escort decided it only wanted to be a 2-wheel drive car. With a lack of front-wheel drive, he was pitched off into the gravel trap and ultimately into the tar barrier. That left the Norwegian somewhat bemused back in the paddock as he tried to find out what the problem was and what he could do about it before the finals.
No, we really don't know what happened. It's either transmission or lack of hydraulic pressure, so the car started driving over the back wheels because it went very, very loose. I thought for the first time it was the tires, but by looking at the tires, they don't like they've been working very hard and not working, gone hot. So it's probably a transmission hiccup.
It puts the pressure on you once more.
It always puts the pressure on you.
The first of the finals was going to be that of the ERA Cup. It had already had 3 rounds and 3 different winners. It became 4 out of 4 here in Ireland as local driver Sassel Haffey with a Suzuki Swift ran away from the rest of the field. Susan Bergvall, the Portuguese winner, was chasing hard, but her little Citroën was unable to keep up with a very well-developed car driven by a man who knew the circuit at the back of his hand. Sassel Haffey then won the ERA Cup, with second place going to Bergvall ahead of Pavel Novotny, Rudy Lavers, Manfred Beck, and another Irish driver, Kevin Sherry, completing the top 6 drivers. Staying with Group N cars, it's now time for the Division 1A final. The lights go green. Richard Hutton and Ben Lineman from the front row of the grid get away well, or do they? Because now Lineman seems to slip back through the field. Round the outside there goes the Czech driver, Pavel Kapny, and he leads as they turn through the corner. He drifts wide though. Somewhere in all that dust is the white Escort, and it's Richard Hutton who leads. Hutton comes out in front with Kapny running even wider as they get to the hairpin. Yellow flags out, somebody has gone off in the background. Well, only 2 cars come through, now that becomes 3, with Ben Lineman in 3rd place. Let's try and work out who it is that's gone off. I think it's Peter Kramer with the Ford Sapphire. The Dutchman having a very poor season. every race the car gets damaged. It's happened again here in Ireland, but Richard Hutton is chasing on. Ivan Opland in second place. Yellow flags being waved, and now red flags come out. The race is being stopped with Kramer's car in a very awkward position. A 4-car rerun. The lights go green. Hutton gets away well, and so this time does Lineman. Unlike the first start, he doesn't go backwards down through the field. He leads as they get to the first corner. So that rerun really has played into the hands of the German driver. Hutton it is in second place. Opland there in third. Now what can Richard Hutton do about the championship leader, Bernd Lineman? At the moment, nothing. The gap's opening up, and Hutton has got his mirrors full of the yellow Nissan of the Norwegian driver Ivan Opland. Helmut Holfeld with his escort completing the 4 cars in the race, and he is trying to find a way up to the terms with Opland now. Hutton is closing on Lineman. The German driver leads the Englishman, who leads the Norwegian, who leads the Irishman. Uphill, swing right, off the tarmac, onto the loose, back onto the tarmac. Now Hutton closing all the time to Bernd Lineman. He's having a go on the inside as they get to the hairpin, but Lineman is not going to give way. He stays alongside there as they come to the second part of that little complex. Contact between them. Hutton gets bumped briefly off the circuit, back on again, but he's lost a couple of lengths, so Lineman is back in the lead. Hutton remains in second place, and he's now got to do all that hard work in closing the gap all over again. They're back on the tarmac. Lineman leads. Hutton is in second place with what looks to be the quicker of the 2 escorts. The gap coming down, look. Contact, bang, a tap in the tail. Hutton trying to find a way past Lineman. They're back on the tarmac now. Helmut Holfeld is through into third place at the expense of Opland, and again Hutton tries to weave his way through. They're on the loose, fighting for control. Opland's ailing Nissan in front of them. We'll get to see a car being lapped, not a regular occurrence in Rallycross. Opland pulls to one side, lets the 3 competitive cars go past him, and Hutton still doing his best to find a way past Lineman, but he's running out of time now. Lineman leads the championship, and Hutton, having missed the opening round of the series, really does need points from every round, and he needs lots of points. He'll get 20 for a win, 17 for second. Hard on the brakes, into the hairpin. Richard Hutton is tucked right up behind the Flipotec escort. Little bit of contact there. Lineman slides wide. Hutton clips him again. The pair of them bouncing off. Lineman all over the grass. Hutton comes through. Contact made. Hutton leaps across the grass. He's heading for the tarmac. He's heading for the circuit somewhere. He's back on. He's off again. Lineman leads. Hutton fighting for control. And Bernd Lineman comes through now, up over the line. Lineman wins the A final, and a dramatic last lap it was too. Hutton takes second place with Holfeld third, and Ivan Opland retiring hurt into the pits. And that used to be the tyre wall until Richard Hutton came along. The marshals trying to rebuild the course for this race, the Division 2A final. Schanker and Pallier on the front row, Hansen and Gollop on row 2. The third row, Per Eklund and Sune Andersen. Who's going to make the best start then as the lights go green? We'll find out now. Schanker makes a good getaway, so too does Jean-Luc Pallier, and Kenneth Hansen looking for a way past the pair of them. It's Schanker who leads. The escort comes in too quickly, he drifts off. All over the grass goes Schanker. He loses the lead, he loses second place. Now, where's he going to be able to rejoin? Is it in third? No, it's fourth. Will Gollop's in third place, but Citroëns are first and second. It's Jean-Luc Pallier, winner last time out in France, who leads. Hansen, double winner this season, is second. Then it's Gollop, then Schanker, then Andersen, and then Eklund. Onto the loose, heading back to the tarmac. There in the lead is Jean-Luc Pallier with chasing after him Kenneth Hansen. Martin Schanker runs a little bit wide there, just clips the curb on the outside of the circuit, but Will Gollop, the 1992 European champion, is staying ahead of multiple champion Martin Schanker. Sune Andersen, the man who won the B final, down in 6th place, but we are looking at Jean-Luc Pallier. He won in France, but then didn't have any opposition at all from Kenneth Hansen, who was taken out of the first corner and fell right down the order. Well, here Hansen has a healthy car, hanging right up behind the Xantia of Frenchman Jean-Luc Pallier. Martin Schanker trying to stay in touch with Will Gollop, but here is the battle of the Citroëns. The Xantia seems to have the edge at the moment over the Xanax Turbo. As Schanker there looks for a way through to third place, side by side with Gollop. Gollop drifts very wide indeed, possibly a bit of a brush between the two, but Schanker doing his best to get into third place, and Hansen is all over the back of Pallier. The turbo whistling, stamp on the brakes now. Through that very tight right-hander on the loose. Now back onto the tarmac. Jean-Luc Pallier is still clear of Hansen. Schanker, the new third place man. Gollop is down in 4th. In Eklund in 5th, and Sune Andersen in 6th place. Schanker then in 3rd, the two Citroëns battling side by side almost there as they went down the straight. I think Schanker is a bit too far back from them to challenge for the lead, but Kenneth Hansen is putting the race leader Jean-Luc Pallier under great pressure now. Back on the tarmac, there's Martin Schanker in 3rd place. incredible car control that Shankar has, and he needs it now. He's on the absolute limit, trying to close on the Citroens. It's too late though. Jean-Luc Pellier wins the A final in Ireland. Kenneth Hansen takes second base. Third goes to Martin Shankar, with Will Gollop, Per Eklund and Suna Anderson completing the top 6.